Hello everybody, this is Maniac for Bricks, and we're here today with the update of the LEGO Hospital MOC after yesterday's live stream. I'm really happy with how many people attended and everyone that participated throughout the live stream. We had a lot of good laughs in there as well. I do apologize that the stream ended abruptly, mainly because my phone died, which was streaming the live stream, and I could not get it back up quick enough to continue it, but there was only a little bit of things that I did afterwards to shape up the rest of the MOC. It wasn't that much that you missed. So we'll go over that and more with this update video. So, the first thing you'll notice is it looks a lot better for the appearance and color scheme of the MOC. I'm really happy with how everything came out along the second floor to fill out all the white areas I needed, and I still kept the light gray and light bluish gray in here for just a nice stripe effect. We also made the windows look better with consistency for the frames, but also changed out what actually were going into the windows. You see, I couldn't find at the time two that were just plain, and I kind of like these that I found in a couple different windows, so I just swapped them out with the stickers attached on there. So it looks pretty good that way. I think it's something that would be proper for a hospital, so it's not too far-fetched. The idea of the light gray fitting through here as a stripe also continued onto the first floor, which honestly looks okay. I mean, mostly with the light gray base plate, it's kind of hard to tell, but it is there, and from the interior, it doesn't look too bad. I also took out the garage door here, because I felt like it was too much trouble to try to fit that back in, try to raise the height of the floor, because this actually is another brick or two taller, but I think it's better as it is right now, so that way I could fit this in and out more easily. I'll use the garage door for another MOC at a later time, and I may be able to fit the 2012 ambulance that I've wanted to fit in here a little bit easier that way. Also, the rest of the MOC has been moved forward by about 2 studs. So there used to be actually a 3 stud space between the fence and the walls. Now it's about a 1 stud space. So that means this is a little bit larger for the garage area. Most of the second floor is just the same shape. Didn't really change that much. But I'm happy that this is a little bit longer, so that way it'll fit the car inside of there a lot better. I also changed out a little bit of the garden area in the front just to give it a little bit better appearance, and added an extra layer of plates. Even some flowers are in there, and mostly that's how that lined up from the outside. I'm also really happy, this is one of the first things I tried to do in the live stream, but I'm really happy that this is now added in to the second floor. It's not a standalone object, so that if I were to take off the second floor here, it will actually go along with it, and it won't be too fragile. I do want to do a little bit more modification with this, but we'll get to that in just a little bit. Also, the way that everything's attached on here seems to be a little bit more consistent as far as the tiles go and plates to arrange around here. It's still enough that it'll keep sturdy when everything is in place and if I need to move stuff around, but we'll get into the interior in just a bit. There's a little bit on the front that I actually wanted to accessorize and change up a couple details, and honestly, I think it looks a lot better this way. As you can see with the cross put right back on there, it has a nice flush look there. I still need to find a 1x1 cheese wedge. It's tentative, I might actually change them from cheese wedges into more of the curved slopes, but as a 1x2, and then build the rest of them with different tiles. But let me know what you guys think about that, if it should be kind of a slanted incline or decline or whatever it is, or it should be a little bit more curved here, kind of matching up with the curved look here, which also is relatively new. Now, as far as the roof goes, nothing really changed on there, and just a little bit of rearrangement for the plates. But most of the same features are still in here in one way or another. We did arrange the plates underneath here so that it corresponds with all the rooms better, because there were just some borders I had to work around, but not too bad on that side. As far as the rooms themselves, as I revamped the walls, I also revamped how the inside looked for the interior walls. So these, you can see, it still carries the light bluish gray to light gray striping along the bottom. I think that looks pretty good and is a little bit more consistent along the top and sides. There were lights in here before, and I'm actually going to do something different with those this time around. As you saw here, we have a couple of plates that these would mainly be overhanging for this 2x8 plate. I was thinking if I fit a few more plates along there in this parameter, I can put 1x1 studs in trans clear underneath them, so that way they'll be more like ceiling lights. Just a little subtle detail that I think would be a little bit better for it. Now, as we get onto the second floor, we have mostly unchanged stuff as far as the rooms go. They still have the same dimensions in there, and not much has been changed as far as what's in the rooms or how the beds are designed. I may change the bed design in the future, because I know that those 2x4 plates that have the technicals really should just be flat, like not hold plates, but I'll need to find those later on. We did completely wipe the operating room just to try to get a better idea of like what else I can fit in there with the operating table, maybe an EKG machine, some heart monitors, and other equipment. I did also change around a little bit as to how the drawers are put in here, so they're a little bit closer to the wall this time, and that avoids any weird gaps that would be in that corner. So I think that looks pretty good. And it will have a couple of hospital accessories in there. We didn't put the closet back in here for now, but it is possible I could still fit one in this space. If I do fit one, I think it would actually be a little bit easier if I have it open from the outside, like here, instead of the inside along this wall, because before it was kind of a cramped space, and I'm not sure if that's still going to work this time around. But I like the idea for it at least. I didn't really change out the tan plates in here that go along the bottom layer to hold most of this floor together. But for the meantime, I can compromise with that, and I added in some tan cheese wedges to kind of fit in with them, kind of like accent it, but also give it a proper space for where this thing is supposed to sit. Sometimes those plates will come off with the rest of the floor, as you can see here, but it's still enough that I can match it up and it'll look pretty good. As far as the garage area, it's now more open space, so easier to drive a car through it back and forth. It's not really gonna hold anything, like it is very easy for a car to roll back and forth through there by accident. I've already had it happen once just before this video started. But at least for now, it still has more occupancy for if I fit another ambulance in there instead. We also moved the orientation of the door, so it's a little bit more to the side, kind of more centered in here. It was a little bit further to this side previously, but I think this looks a little bit better and will fit better for the actual ambulance being in here, since it's better appropriate to the door. It's not going to be accurate to like open the door and have a minifigure step in and out of the ambulance, but at least the simulation of going through them is still there. Now, as far as the first floor, it still needs some modifications, but I'm really happy with how it's been improved. We took out the giant pillars, or pillows according to Brickset, out of here, so in the back area it's a lot more open and easy to move in there, and it still keeps the rest of the model sturdy, so I don't have to worry about a lot of cross beams. I probably should still put some in at some point, especially with this back wall, but I'll figure that out at a later time and see how well this holds up in the meantime. For right now, we did change up how the assistants the counter is, the front counter, and we now have it so that you could fit two of them in there. I felt like it was better appropriate to have two of them in there instead of just one, so that you can have one for different operations. Still the same buttons, mostly the same orientation for those, and a little bit different as to how it was going together. Those panel pieces are supposed to be in place so that they could fit their minifigure arms right next to there. Otherwise, it would be very hard with the plates to fit in that same space. So that works out pretty nicely. I'll see if I can spin this around from the other side and show you a little bit more how that looks there. And then we have the food court, which is a little bit smaller and still needs some modification here and there, but for the most part, I'm happy that the chairs are arranged very nicely. There's still, a believable walkable space to get to the food court. I'm not really sure yet how that's going to be designed for the rest of it, like if it's just going to be someone with a grill or or some sort of fridge or something to grab food from. There still should be a cash register somewhere over here, but for right now, I just have this temporary table put into place, so that way somebody can stand behind there as a food vendor. With the confined space that I have here and trying to fit 2 to 3 different things, that's kind of what's going to happen. It is likely that I could move the assistant table over a bit, or secretary table over a bit, so that way it'll allow better space for the food, but I'm not yet sure about that. We did change out a little bit as far as the waiting area, because this has a little bit of difference for the armrests that go next to the chairs. They're a little bit deeper than before, and I might throw a magazine or 2 in there just for added detail. We do also have this area on the front that has a flower stand, because I felt like, you usually go to hospitals and you'll see like a small store where you can pick up flowers, cards, balloons, and things like that to bring to patients. I want to add a little bit more for that, but I'm not entirely sure how that's going to work with the rest of the space. So for right now, I just have this mini model that's put into here with a couple of different flowers. I know that the green one in the middle on the top level really shouldn't be the head of the flower. It'd normally be just the petals, but I just wanted to add a little bit more color into it for now. I'm probably going to change 1 or 2 to be yellow or a yellowish color, but I think it still looks pretty good as far as the idea, getting the idea across. Now, one thing I could do is I could shrink down this space again to allow more space for some of the other facilities in here. But I am actually really happy with how this thing is designed. I feel like it's the right size, and again, having the 2 people here seems better for the hospital staff. I know that a lot of the hospital staff are female, but there is one male worker, at least for right now, and that is the one that was helping with the ambulance. Aside from the guy that's actually driving the ambulance, we have this guy out front, who I'm going to call Will. And I call him Will because somebody on Facebook, when I posted pictures about it to my personal Facebook page, they saw it and they thought that's just them. Like, it looks exactly like them, because they do work as an EMS. So, and it does have a very similar face. So, it's not Jang, it's not Bob, it's Will. But honestly, I'm really happy with all the progress that's been done in here. Sorry about the stutter there. And it still has a little bit more to go. I definitely have a couple little accents to add for these 2 rooms. It may change out over time depending on which figures I put in there. But for what's already in there, that's not too bad. Obviously, the operating room still needs work, like majorly, for refurbishing and getting the right equipment in there. I'm not going to put the step stools back in because it seems unnecessary. I feel like I could just have minifigures simulate grabbing from the top shelf just as they're standing there. Obviously, still have some things to work on for the bottom room just to get the right space, but I still have the ideas there planted. So I'm really happy with how this has been going, and there will be at least another video to update about this. I'm not entirely sure if it's going to be a live stream or how soon the live stream will be. Just check back on the channel for more information. And thank you all for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And honestly, one thing that's helping me out with this is planning for future MOCs that I want to build for a police station and a fire station. This has already given me a good premise to work with, even though it's going to be a different orientation. But it's definitely laid a lot of groundwork that I can build off of. And let me know in the comments below what you guys think about the MOC so far. I already saw a couple of comments through Instagram when I posted pictures of this up close, and people seem to really like it. And also personal Facebook page, people seem to like it as well. So I'm really happy with how it's going, and we'll see you next time with more LEGO videos.